Pedestrian deaths in the U.S. are climbing at an alarming rate.
Crossing the street is increasingly dangerous.
Fatalities are increasing dramatically.
A problem that's worse in the U.S. than in many other developed countries.
I don't know if you've noticed, but crossing the street has gotten kind of crazy here in the US. And no, I'm not talking about this kind. But streets like this are pretty uncomfortable because I have to stick myself out into traffic to see if someone will stop for me. And then if they do, I have to give the awkward "thanks for not killing me" wave to make it across. This is something that not only affects me as someone who walks, but also as someone who drives. Sometimes when I'm driving, there's a person where I didn't expect them to be. I thought I was paying attention, but I'm still taken by surprise by this person crossing the street. We don't normally think about these encounters, or at least I didn't for a long time. After the sudden shock is over and we determine that everything's okay, we tend to carry on about our day. But have you wondered if this is the way that things are supposed to be? A series of near misses and close calls that leave us feeling leery on the inside. So really, why is it so hard to cross the street? We gotta ask, is it just a skill issue? There's been tons of PSAs that have come out over the years warning pedestrians of the extra precautions they should take. These are often pretty morbid and advise that pedestrians look both ways, pay attention when crossing the street, avoid wearing dark colors, or else you'll die. A number of researchers have also pointed out that cell phones are a big distraction for people, both driving and walking. So maybe we just need to work harder to get the attention of drivers. One thing a handful of communities have done is provide pedestrian flags to help make people walking more visible. These flags sit in boxes at the edge of a crosswalk, and when crossing the street, you can pick one up and use it to signal that you're making your way across. There's controversy over whether this method is actually effective. Some find the process demeaning to those walking, and others find it as a useful tactical urbanism tool. But the woman in this clip tried this method with a giant flag, and people still didn't stop. But to be fair, she wasn't doing everything the PSAs tell you to do. Like, where's her high vis? I decided to take it to the next level. After watching some videos on how to cross the street and taking notes, I was ready for a very non-scientific exercise to see what would happen if I were to cross a dangerous road following those same directions. If the law in Illinois says that a car has to yield to a pedestrian in the crosswalk, and we all pass driver's ed, then they should stop, right? The saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes comes to mind. So I'm gonna be crossing this massive strode and see how many people stop for me when I am just wearing this, and then we're gonna try some high vis and see how that goes. All right, so we're 0 for 18 so far on this side. Okay, entering the crosswalk. We got 0 for 1. All right, round 3. I'm gonna make my, all right, we are 0 for 1. 0 for 6. Oh, thank you. Well, this person stopped for me. Will they? Oh, thank you. Okay, now we're on the opposite side. I have lost count at this point. I am literally staying here waving hi. Hey, how's it going? This is crazy. Sorry, Mom. Let's go ahead and break out the high vis, baby. All right, so we got the high vis on. I've got a vest, I've got a hat with the light turned on. We're gonna see how this goes. The barrier is so low that it's just, will someone willingly stop for me while I wear my high vis and my high vis hat? We're 0 for 1, 0 for 2. Guys, this is insane. I am clearly in the crosswalk. Every single car right now is breaking the law. Every single car. Are you gonna stop? Thank you. All right, am I gonna get hit? Thank you. Look at this, guys. We may make it across this time. All right, we're gonna see how this goes. I'm standing in the middle of the strode. There's no island for me. I am in the middle of a lane. There we go. This blue Prius stopped for me, but am I gonna get hit by a car coming over here? No signs of slowing down, but we made it, everybody. Thank you, there we go. This is great. Now we're flipping to this side. Wonderful, okay, we made it across. Let's give the flag a go. Guys, we're beyond saving. Don't tell Chuck I said that. I look like such a clown right now. Here we go, everybody. I'm making my way downtown. Okay, I think we made it. Can I help you cross? Can I help you cross? All right. I got some friends coming with me. And off we go. All right, are they gonna stop? Oh, first try? Guys, it's working.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there was a dog there when I was recording, so I'm not sure it was the high vis that got people's attention.
It worked. It's working. Guys, the flag and the high vis might be the solution.
Is it though? Yeah, sure, high vis helps people see me, but we knew that. That's why it's called high vis.
While I'm not surprised that the flag is working, I am surprised at how many people I'm just making like straight up eye contact with. And like sort of as I lurch into the street, they are not stopping at all.
Waving a giant neon flag, it doesn't make you safe. And let's be honest, it's not realistic that people go about their daily lives carrying high-vis vests and neon flags to get around the neighborhood. We're gonna have to look elsewhere if we want to figure out how to make crossing the street easier. There was an actual study conducted by researchers at the University of Minnesota, where they found that drivers in the state failed to yield to pedestrians at unsignaled crosswalks nearly 60% of the time. And here are the top points that researchers have found as to why our roads are so dangerous. Car bloat, or Americans choosing to drive bigger cars, has made it harder for drivers to see people walking, and more likely for it to be fatal when people are hit. Another reason? Cars are too automatic, and that ease takes away from a driver's focus. It could also be smartphones. A reliance on smartphones, even for things like using maps, are things that have the potential to take our attention away from the road. The National Transportation Safety Board even questioned if ads that demonstrated reckless behavior affected drivers' attitudes. Each of these potential reasons have a core similarity. People are dying on our roads because we're bad at driving. If that's the case, then why don't we address these factors with laws and regulations? Well, we have. It's illegal to speed, and reckless driving is a crime. But it still happens. We absolutely should continue making it harder for people to endanger the lives of others through these reckless behaviors, but these laws aren't effective as you would hope. Even when I was standing on the street, people didn't stop for me. So what if we just better educate people on how to walk or drive? We could try, but the National Institute of Health showed that there was no evidence that further education is an effective approach for reducing crashes and injuries. Updating people to changes on the law is important, but if it's easy to drive recklessly, people will do it. So what are we supposed to do? Well, even if all these approaches were effective, which again, they aren't, we're forgetting about the one thing we never want to address: the design of our places and our streets. So I talked to Noah from Streetcraft, who has a great channel explaining streets in really accessible language.
Hi, my name is Noah, and I run the channel Streetcraft. So crossing the street should never be a struggle, but of course it is in many places. Thankfully, there are some tools we can use to improve crossings, and sometimes even small fixes can have a real impact. At the intersection you crossed, one tool we can use is curb extensions, which bring the curb further into the intersection. This allows for better visibility of pedestrians, reduces crossing distances, and even reduces the turning radius for cars, causing them to slow down. It's best if this is done with physical modifications to the curb, but some cities have actually done this with painted curb extensions and flexible bollards as a cheap and quick way to get results. We could also use flexible signs to place within the roadway on the lane markings to indicate to drivers that they actually have to stop for pedestrians. Not only does this raise awareness to the law, but it also serves as an obstacle on the road that drivers want to avoid hitting, causing them to slow down and pay attention at these crosswalks.
You may not have noticed this, but drivers noticed the potholes in the road more than they noticed me. So these can make a real difference.
Another thing that could be done in terms of raising awareness to the crosswalk is upgrading the existing pedestrian signs that are there to rectangular rapid flashing beacons, which are those signs that flash when you push the button. And this would help improve awareness of pedestrians trying to cross. These are some pretty low-cost measures that can be used, but they can still have real results. Of course, there are more expensive tools that can be used too if the budget allows for it. This could be things like installing a dedicated crosswalk signal, creating raised crosswalks, or reconfiguring the road entirely to reduce crossing distances. So while some of these tools are more costly than others, the nice thing is that there are tools, even if they're as simple as paint and plastic signs that can still create change.
Noah's suggestions were great, so I wanted to test them on the same road from earlier.
So I went less than 1 mile down the road to an intersection on the same street that has paint and plastic delineators as part of a Vision Zero crossing. Let's see if people stop for me.
When I went to film midday, I didn't realize my mic was muted during the first round, but I'll give you the gist. More people stopped for me, but it didn't feel safer. Cars were still flying by at 40 miles an hour, and I was still making eye contact with people who just flew right by.
A complete street stamp doesn't make a street safe. And it's important to remember that even something as good as a Vision Zero initiative can be co-opted by the status quo or by traffic engineers who are more concerned about traffic throughput than safe streets. We love the goals of these initiatives, but they can't be accomplished unless there's a change in values in the communities that they serve. When this happens, though, some amazing changes can take place.
City of Hoboken says it's been 7 years since it's had a traffic fatality.
So we sent one of our East Coast staff writers to Hoboken, New Jersey to see what kinds of changes they're making and if they can be replicated.
I'm Asha Mileshko. I'm a staff writer with Strong Towns, and I am currently in Hoboken, New Jersey with Andrew Price.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm a resident here for 8 years, and I've been a founding member of Strong Towns.
One of the main ideas of the 5 key principles of Vision Zero is that human error is inevitable, so we need to be changing the systems more than just individual behavior. And that's clear in the design changes made in Hoboken.
But they've bumped out the curb, and you can still see where the old curb is, and even the old drainage is still leading to the old curb. Yeah, this is a concrete bump out to extend the curb a little bit.
Thomas Y made a great video explaining another technique that they're using called daylighting.
How does daylighting make walking, especially with a kid, so much safer?
It makes it safer because it gives you like the visibility to know that there's not a car about to come, that you can see ahead of time, because especially like with a stroller sticking out several feet in front of you, like
something like this.
Yeah, if there was a car like parked right here, a big like delivery van, and you're standing here and your stroller's sticking out to here, not only can the driver not see you, like also your kid's in danger and you can't even see if there's any traffic coming.
In looking at the rest of Asha's footage of Hoboken and Jersey City, it's apparent that this stuff isn't that crazy to implement. Going a step above just paint and moving to something like plastic delineators doesn't cost that much, but it can make a huge difference. Here in Chicago, I even noticed that we're doing the same kind of daylighting techniques. Instead of using delineators, we're using things like bike racks.
If your community is still more concerned about whether or not they'll save 30 seconds on their commute than never having to worry about a child running into the street for the last time, then you have work to do.
We also need to acknowledge that until these things change, deadly crashes will continue to happen, more than 20 per day. If we don't use these, especially the ones where road design is a major factor, to make sure that there isn't another deadly crash in the same spot, then it likely will happen again. Your city will just keep letting it happen. In Springfield, Massachusetts, 3 people have been killed in the same spot outside of this library. We created the Crash Analysis Studio so that you can stop that second crash from happening.
At Strong Towns, we are trying to shift that national conversation about how we perceive and describe crashes.
To help you do this, we put together a totally free course, and this isn't some half-baked freebie. This will take you step by step through how you can prevent future tragedies in the same place.
What we have to do is we have to remember in our confidence that we actually have the ability at a local level, from a bottom-up approach, to make change. We can do small change as a pilot project within a community using temporary materials, with the support of our most local leaders to do these as demonstrations. Let me give some examples of where people are doing this that we forget about all the time. How many of us close our streets off for a festival? When a water line breaks in your community, regardless of what roadway ownership it is, the utility companies know how to close off lanes, and still the system operates. We have to take those lessons and apply them to daily conditions.
If you work alongside the local government and you build coalitions, you can do things like they did in Sioux Falls, painting bump outs outside of elementary schools. And when people see that the world didn't end when they had to take that wider left turn, or they had to drive slower outside of the elementary school, That's how you start winning people over.
We know what works. There are enough videos out there showing great streets. There are enough studies showing us how to make our places safer. How many of these videos are you gonna watch before you step up for your neighbor?
Really? You're just gonna give up? Nothing I can do will change anything. I might as well just move. So you're moving? No. You thought it'd be easy. I didn't think it'd be this hard. That's fair. That's why we start small.
If we stay quiet, this will keep happening. John and the Chattanooga Urbanist Society were sick of watching and waiting as people died on their sidewalks and streets. So they started with small changes and shared it online. And after showing how easy it is to participate in building our places, the people in Chattanooga and across the world are listening. This battle isn't as one-sided as you think, but you might need to join in. We're with you, and we want to support your move from just consuming this content into action. There are probably people in your community already trying to do the work, so we'd love to get you connected through one of our local conversations like we highlighted in our last video. We also have our national gathering coming up May 14th and 15th, where our keynote speaker is none other than Barkha Patel, who is responsible for the implementation of Jersey City's Transformational Vision Zero plans, where they embrace tactical urbanism at the city level. This approach is now being used by Cincinnati, who's hosting the national gathering this year. Subscribe to stay tuned, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Your place is counting on you to do what you can.